All right, let's break down one of the most fundamental concepts in all of physics. And we're going to do it with a thought experiment that's so simple, I promise you are never going to forget it.
I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about this? Why does your clean room always just fall apart into a mess? Why do your headphones always end up in a tangled knot? Well, the answer to all of these questions, from the tiny to the cosmic, it all comes down to one powerful word: entropy.
And look, by the end of this, you won't just know what entropy is, you'll actually start seeing it happen everywhere you look. All you need is a little imagination. Ready? Okay, so let's dive into our thought experiment. And we're going to start with the total opposite of chaos. We're talking perfect, pristine order. I want you to really picture this. Every single book is on its shelf, all lined up. There's not a speck of dust anywhere. The corners on the bed are like super sharp. This perfectly clean state is our starting point. Okay, so in the language of physics, this super clean room, that's what we call a state of low entropy. And the key phrase here is very few possible ways. And just think about that for a second. There's really only one way for your room to be perfectly clean, right? But there are like a million ways for it to be messy. And that right there, that brings us to the first huge takeaway. That perfect state of order is rare. It's just statistically improbable. It takes work to get it that way, which is exactly why it never, ever lasts.
All right, so we've got our perfectly ordered low entropy state. Now let's see what happens when, life happens. And look, you're not doing anything crazy. You're just living in it. You toss a shirt on a chair, you leave a book open, maybe a drawer stays open a crack. We're just talking about small, random, everyday things. And this, right here, this is the absolute heart of the whole thing. You see, for that one single way your room can be perfectly clean, there are millions, maybe billions of ways it can be messy. A sock on the floor, that's a messy state. That same sock 2 inches to the left, that's a different messy state. So what does that mean? It means because there are just so many more messy states than clean ones, any random change is almost guaranteed to land the room in one of those messy states. The room just naturally drifts toward what's most probable. And that, my friends, is entropy in action. It's the universe just following the path of least resistance. Okay, so the room analogy is great, right? But let's connect it back to the real physics. It's time to kind of shift our thinking away from just clean versus messy and start thinking in terms of probability. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. So on one side, you've got low entropy. It's not just clean, it's improbable. It's got very few ways to be arranged, and man, it takes energy to keep it that way. On the other side, you've got high entropy. That's not just messy, it's probable. It has tons of possible arrangements, and it just happens all by itself. No effort required. Okay, now if you thought that was cool, get ready, because this next part is where entropy gets seriously mind-bending. Because this simple rule of probability doesn't just explain messy rooms. No, it explains time itself. I'm not kidding. The relentless, one-way street that is time, from the past through the present into the future, it's a direct result of the entire universe moving from a less probable state to a more probable one. I mean, just think about it for a second. You see a glass shatter all the time, right? But have you ever seen the little shards on the floor suddenly fly back together into a perfect glass? Or seen smoke just get sucked back into a match? No way. And now you know exactly why. See, it's not that it's physically impossible for all those atoms to just happen to fly back together into a perfect glass. It's just that it is so ridiculously unlikely you'd never see it happen, not in a billion lifetimes of the universe. Time moves forward because going backward is, for all practical purposes, a statistical impossibility. Okay, let's do a quick mental check right now. Really picture this in your head. You trip, and a full box of Lego pieces goes flying everywhere. What do you see on the floor? A perfectly built castle? Or a scattered mess of bricks? They scatter. Of course they do. Why? Because there's maybe one way they can be a castle, but there are trillions and trillions of ways they can just be a pile of bricks on the floor. If you get that, if that just clicks for you, then congratulations. You totally get entropy. All right, so after all that, what's the one big idea you should really walk away with? Let's just boil this whole thing down to its simplest, purest form. Here it is. 2 words. If you forget everything else, just remember this one simple equation. Entropy isn't some spooky, mysterious force. It's just probability. It's a statement about what's probably going to happen.
See, the universe isn't on some mission to be messy. It's just that there are so many more ways for things to be disordered than ordered that the universe almost always ends up there. From a star exploding to milk mixing into your coffee, it's all just probability playing out, second by second, across the entire cosmos. And there you have it, entropy, explained with one simple thought experiment. Hey, if this helped things click for you, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. And definitely drop a comment below and let us know what big, tricky concept you want us to simplify next. Thanks so much for watching.